Good afternoon, everyone. Hello.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. All right, we'll begin any moment soon. Let me see how many more can join. All right, some documents in the group. So we'll be following them accordingly. Right. I want to start from lab 2.2.2, followed by 2.2.4, then move to choose the text document I said, and the 2.2.6. So those are the things we'll be working with. But we are going to talk about data gathering and some concepts in data. We'll close for today. That should take us roughly 1 hour. While we are waiting, initially let's let's begin. So by now, you should be familiar with data analysis tools. Right? So analyze data and bring commonly used. First one is a storage. Storage, which is SQL. It is used to store data. And so far, we've learned how to or you can be using SQL to organize data. So it might be in form of flat database, something like Excel, right? For data analysis. Are we together? And how to use them, how to use the tools. Shall we begin? Let's start with opening the first document, 2.2.2. Everyone here has previous knowledge. Excel worksheets. You can start opening your own Excel too. I think it's better I share the Excel rather than. Okay. By now, should have lab 2.2.2. So, what are the objectives in the lab? First, you want to talk about the basic Excel formulas. Number two, you want to talk about number formatting, right? What are the things you required? Some mobile devices, okay, let's say mobile devices, Android or every other operating system has you're able to download what's it called, Microsoft Excel, but it's only as easy as using a laptop, right? Okay, let's move on. But before I jump into this, I'd like to talk about interfaces of an Excel. Like we know, the first one here that has book one Excel is your title bar. And the next file on tab are your menu bar. If you click on one tab in the menu bar, all the icons that are below, they are called the toolbar. Numbers, styles, cells, editing, and WPS, right? Same as WPS, PDF. Each of these tabs has their own. Each of these tabs have their own icon or their own toolbar. I call those below the menu bar. I call the toolbar. You can get familiar with all this introduction parts. Now, in an Excel, we have worksheets, right? A worksheet are these interfaces, the grid or the grid lines. Now, we have both the rows and columns, right? Which in database we call them fields. Right? These are the rows, which mostly in database we call them records, right? The whole of this in database, I call them a table or a relation, right? A collection of several sheets is called a workbook. Let me rename this workbook. I'll double click on sheet one below and I'll call it sample. So I have a sample worksheet here. Are we together? Let's get started. Back to the lab 2.2.2 I sent. So basic Excel formulas. There are two basic ways to perform calculations. Right? Formulas are those things, or are those similar to the way you calculate formulas. A formula in an Excel or a function in an Excel always say maps. Maps. I have 10, I have 20, I have 30, I have 40, right? I want to add this. I can use a formula. I say, let's quickly go back to cell reference. When we say cell reference, right? Not one, sorry, two. So what is a cell? A cell is a combination of C and 2. Column C or 2. So this cell is C2. This cell is C. Positive cell. Are we together? Right. So now let's go back to using our formula. So to use formula, I can say equals to A2 plus A4 plus A5 plus I have the sum. What about function? I use is the sum function, right? I can just take on the whole of this and I hit my equal to. We still have the same. So we've talked about one particular function, which is the sum function. Right? Formula of function always starts with each of Sundays and night. Right. I'll proceed. The document I sent to you. Typing, right? Excel formula, it must begin with equal to. Talk about the cell reference. Say A B. I will just use autofill to now autofill. You can see it fills a BBBB. I can click on this and say fill series. Right? Okay, right? I want to add a new place, and I right click, then I click on insert. Same way I can insert a new row. I click and click on insert. Name a worksheet. Now, just like we have seen, now the name of this worksheet, I look which work. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Can somebody confirm if
Hello, sir.
I have
The network is actually breaking, but we are hearing you slightly. Okay, or I am hearing you slightly. But the network is breaking over here.
Hello? Book, are you seeing?
Hello, are you hearing me, sir?
Sir, the same thing the network is speaking, but we can't really hear you audibly.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah. Hi, sir.
Yeah, I think maybe I should change my video. Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'll proceed. So renaming a worksheet. I want to, let's assume this
The network
this
has been
workbook.
breaking, so we
So to save, I can just click on save and I'll pick the location I want to save it to. And once that opens, okay, it's going to open in any moment now. All right, so then can then rename it to what I want to save it to. Let me say sample. Then I'll click on save. All right, so now I have my workbook renamed as sample. All right, let's go back to what we are talking about. Now, I will jump to 2.2.6, right? There are several things we can do, but I can't take all the basics of Excel, right? So let's go to 2.2.6. You can download the text file I sent, which is if you're in a WhatsApp group, you'll see bike sales.txt, right? I want to believe you've all opened that. 2.2.4 rather. So next we're talking about importing data into an Excel. Now, why I want to take this, that many times your data might not be in the form of Excel format, might not be saved as .xlx text, right? So I want to import a text file. The text file, I've sent it to your group. So I'll click on data, right? Then I'll click on import, get data for, right? And I'll click on bike sales. Then importation wizard will come up. Now, you need to first of all know what is separating each data. If you open the data with a notepad, you will notice that each data is separated by comma, each column is separated by a comma. So it is delimited, right? Then I'll click on my data as heading. If you click on my data as heading, it will take the first row as heading. I'll click on my net. So what's my separator? My separator is comma, right? And probably let me check my data has okay. I've done that. Then the next, I want general. Just leave the setting and click on. Let me click on new worksheets or existing worksheets, so you can look at how the file was a text file, right? But now I have it formatted like this. Then I can then save this as are we together. So now let's go back and perform this our basic function in 2.2.2. The first I want us to do is to use the sum function, right? Let's assume we want to calculate. We want to calculate the profit, sum of all the whole profits made by this bike company. So to do that, I can either use a formula, right, by just adding equals to, it must start with an equal to this cell plus, that will be too tedious to do, because what if there are about 10,000 rows? We wouldn't want to use formula, so we can use a function for that. So we can use a sum function equals to sum, right? And I'll click on this and I'll drag it to the last. So you can see K2 column K12, that is called the data range, right? Once I close this and I hit my enter key, so as you can see, the sum of the total profits made by this company is $9,939, right? So let's say I want to find the average cost. I need to do something here. Let me not put it here. Let me find it. Say the sum of profits, right? Average cost, right? And I'll say total revenue. So to get the sum of profit, I'll use equal to, right? Equals to this, sorry, equals to sum this. I can complete that in my formula bar. Now highlight this, close. That's the sum of average cost and equals to average, right? And do this. Then total revenue equals to sum. And the revenue, highlight all and close. So all these are the analysis we have done so far. All right. Now what I want to do now, go back to my 2.2.6. Okay, the next thing I would like to do is to use a filter, right? Actually, I wouldn't like doing my analysis on the same page as this, but I'll come back to that when we talk about relative reference and absolute reference. Please, can you hear me? Let's see how many. I have 5 people online. I want to believe you can hear me. All right. So the next I want to do is filter. Let's assume I want to get all the whole data that are only from adults, right? So we can do this thing the way we do it in SQL, like using the where. What I'll do here is to, if I highlight everything and I go to insert, right? Okay. Let me do this here. I'll go to this. I click. My system hanging. All right, so I want to filter on all the data that has, let's say, adults, right? So let me say I have sort and filter. Let me use filter, right? So I will say filter by values. First, I'm dealing with age group. So I'll check all those that I want. Let's say I want adult and youth. If I click on OK, I have all the data that are only having adults and youth. Take note, whatever you are doing here is affecting the main data. So you have to be careful of not deleting your data. That is filter, right? Let me undo, right? Let's say I want to sort. I want to sort this state by, I want to sort alphabetically, so I can come here and do sort A to Z or set Z to A. I can also do custom sort, right? That's the way we can sort by 2 columns in SQL. I can take my, let's say I want to sort by state. I want to sort by state. I want to sort that from A to Z. And I also want to sort by, let me add another level. I also want to sort by the quantity next. And I want to sort by quantity. Other quantities, right? So I want to start from smallest to largest. So if I click on OK, notice it has been sorted. Notice how our country is sorted alphabetically, and the profit is sorted from smallest to largest. So that is the sort, how to sort there. Does anyone have question there? All right, moving to the next one. Somebody saying anything? Okay. Now the text I'm going to give you might not be well organized. Might have separate delimiter. So that's for you to figure out. Potentially put it that way. So when you're importing your data, no, this looks very consistent. Comma is separating everything. So I'll move on. The next thing I would like to talk about.
Sorry.
Okay.
What do I press? Like, what do I click on? If you said if we import the data to Microsoft Excel, then comma is separating it. How do I put them in column and rows? Network was bad when you were saying it before.
Okay. Some data might be well organized, while some might be really messy. So as a data analyst, it's your duty to do that. Now, in this case of this one I did here, right? This one is very consistent in delimiter. At least it has comma separated. It's called a comma separated value, right? What you need to do is to go to data. I know many of us might be tempted to do something like this. Go to file, go to open. Yes, it will work, right? But take note of this. I'll open this file now. You can see, okay, this one is still very easy. Let me go to open. Let me go to my computer, and I'll choose this. I think this has badly formatted. It's already opened. Okay, yeah, look at this now. You can see the way it imports because I tried to open it directly. It is badly messed. The delimiter is semicolon. Do you see? So this is the task I wanted to give you. So I'm not going to answer this. I'm not going to do this. Go back to my this thing. So I'll use my bike sales as a sample. But I'm not going to use open. I'm going to go to data. I'm going to say import, get data. I'm going to say from text. Since I'm importing text CSV, I'll go to my download, is my download file. Check my listing and click on import. Now it's going to open up the import wizard. Now my data is not having fixed width. It is delimited by comma. Right? If you open it before you open it with Excel, you see that each of this is separated by comma. Okay? And I check this, my data has heading. Click on next. What is my separator? My comma is my separator. Right? And I will click on next again. Right? You can change this if you like, if you are very consistent, if you are very sure of which data type you want to put in each. I'll just leave it like this for now, and I'll click on finish. I'll click on existing worksheet, and I have my data imported. Right? So this is the data. Are we together? So that is how to import. And we also talk about filtering, talk about sorting, right? Now,
Hello, sir. Can you
Hello.
can I what?
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't know. Are you sharing the screen of when you are importing? Because I can't see the way you are importing.
I'm sharing the screen of when I'm
No, see,
you
I'm
can't
not
see what
seeing
I
it
did.
special. I can't see it at all.
How about now?
Still blank. I'm back on the.
Still blank. I have my.
I'm back on the Excel page now.
Can you see my Excel screen?
Yes. I'm seeing it now.
So you got how to import, right?
No, I didn't.
I say yes. Okay, let me take that again. I will close this because it seems. Let me open a blank file. Right. I'll stop sharing and share again so you can see. So I will do this. Take the importing again, right? Go to insert. Sorry, go to data, right? Text. I'm going to open up where I want to get my. Go to text. Go to my where my data is. I'll pick the bike sales. Right. My data is delimited and it has an header. So I'll click on next. What is your delimiter? My delimiter here is comma, not tab. Right? And I will just finish this and click on existing. So I have my data imported. Right? Now you need to let's go to home. I can see everything has each column, just like we have data type in Excel. I mean in SQL. We also have data type in. Let me pin this down. Otherwise. We also have data type in Excel. So to do that here, generalize means it's for everything. So I can change this to date time. If you're not using the correct data type, you might not be able to do some analysis on it. Let's assume if this is not a date and time data type, let's say we have the start date, we have the end date. Might not be able to find how many days between those start and end using a function, since it is not in the right correct data type. So let's turn this to date time, right? Let me choose the wrong data type. So I'll just put, let me say, long dates. Don't like that. Okay, let me just leave it long dates. The next thing I want to do, you can see if I go to my currency, this profit, and I check data type, and change it to currency, make it .00 just put it in the right data type for easy analysis. So I'll put it in currency, and I'll put this two in currency. And see, these are in 2 decimal places. I can put it in nearest whole number by using these two here, or yes, as you can see, right? But it's always good since we are dealing with currency, put it in 2 decimal places. See, it's very consistent now. All these are going to be general and all this. Now, later on in this course, you can see we have some things to do, some cleaning here. We might talk about this later on. So, and I've also talked about filtering. If I want to filter, right? Let's assume I want to filter. I explained this before. Genders that are, let's say, bikes that are bought by females only. So to do that, I can go to my, let me see my insert. Come on, I'm not seeing this here. Okay, should be my data. Yes, thank you, my data. So go to my filter, right? Then click on this. Then you can select only female, right? So I have all the data that I have that are only the bags that are bought by females alone. Are we together? All the bikes that are with from female. I will undo this. I can do custom. Let's assume I want to get all the profits, right, that are greater than 300 USD. If I do this, it is not convenient to start checking all the old data that are greater than 2. So you can use number filter here, or you call it conditional filter, mostly in Google Sheets. So I can say number greater than, right? I can say greater than 300, right? So I want to have a kind of logical, maybe say greater than 300, less than 500. And I can use the whole, right? That should be hand, right? And is greater than 500. So it's going to give me data between 300 and 500. If I want to include, I can say greater than or equal to 300 and, so this should be less than, sorry, less than or equal to 500. So it's going to give me all data between 300 and 500. That is filtering, right? So that is what we want to talk about. So the next thing, let me see if I still have agenda in my this thing. Do you have any question? Because more of what we want to talk next might be on theoretical. So if you have any question on this, let's talk about it. No question. All right. I moved back to the next agenda. Am I even still online? Let me see. I guess I'm still online. Now, data gathering, that's what I'm talking about. Majorly, as a data analyst, you need to know the type of data you are dealing with, how to analyze each data. And when we are performing any kind of experiment, you need to know the characteristics of what you are measuring, what you are observing. Now, and each of these characteristics, they are call them variables. Now, a variable is a kind of instance that can be measured, right, and it can change. Right? Each of those occurrence of each variable is called an observation. For instance, take note of this. This cell on which I think I'm working in 2. I will undo all this so I can. Here, customer age group, they are all called variables in this case. And all these, right, they are all called the observation. Right? To understand why I'm explaining all these theoretical concepts, because as a data analysis, always would you know how to analyze your data. Now, we have 2 types of variables. The 2 variables can either be categorical or numerical, right? Just like we have seen. And that led us to choosing data type here, because you cannot, there are some calculations you cannot do on text, right? You cannot sum text. You cannot find the average of text. Are we together? So back to my this now. For a categorical data, or simply in the layman what we call it text data, they can either be nominal or ordinal. When we say nominal categorical data, they are those data that are like gender, age, year, eye. Sorry, age is not nominal. Gender, eye color, type of animal that are strictly text. They are nominal data. Now the next type of data is the ordinal. There are those data that can be ranked, right? For instance, let's say grade, first position, second position, third position. Now, as an analyst, will you want to find the average of grade? Does it make sense? Of course, no. You wouldn't want to find the average grade because it's just first is just first, second is just second. Are we together? You cannot say the average grade. No, right? So they are just like skill. That's the ordinal data, right? So the next type of data is the numerical. There are two types of numerical data, which is the continuous data and the discrete data, right? We now know what continuous data has. There are data that can take various forms, or that takes a long range of values. Interval most times, right? Now let's say price, just like we have, or profits, just like we have in our data. It is called, this profit here is called, this is a numerical data. That is why it is making sense to say we want to find the average of profit, but I cannot find the average of product category because this is a nominal data. Are we together? So the same way, state is also nominal, country is also nominal. Are we together? Right, let's move on. So the next thing on my agenda is to talk about discrete data. We all know discrete data. Those are the ones that don't take, I take finite set of values. Example of sensor, network, sensor of network, numbers of the car, all those that can be counted. So all these are the two types of variables that we can collect, categorical and numerical. All right, so I want to open up a question. I don't have much more, but the practical I sent, we get you, the text I sent, we get you up and doing, followed by the assignment I'm going to send. So it's not possible I explain everything, but from next class, we'll be taking advanced function, right? We'll be taking the if, we'll be taking the average if, and so many advanced functions. Then, by next week, okay, let's say by next class, we talk about using calculating descriptive statistics. Then from next upper class, go to data visualization. Are we together? So time for question. No question. All right. So if there's no question, I do like to round up. Don't have much there today, because I want to believe you all get what I'm saying. All right. Is there any question, please? I need to hang up. I'm at work. No question. Then get ready to see my tags to get it doing. Don't worry. If you have any question related to how to do the task, just send it to group. I will answer them. Thank you so much for joining. All right.